Welcome everybody to episode 200 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. 200 episodes.
G'day, Adam. Hi, everybody at home. Hope you're all well.
That's a lot of episodes.
And thank you to you, and congratulations to you, Ad. Like, this is a mini milestone we should celebrate. I think this is great.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Thank you for being such a great co-host. I think we've done well over this stretch. And you're right, we've got other people to thank aside from one another, but we should take the time to give each other a pat on the back. There's been a lot of people with us over the journey. Yeah.
I think we should definitely name a couple. I think the easy ones to my sort of head is the guys at Fast Break. That's been a wonderful blessing for us. I think that's the best way to say it. And then we looked back on the spreadsheet tonight, and the other one that actually probably surprised both of us, actually, now we were talking about it, was Amir and the Bang Man. So
yeah, some
huge thank you to Amir. He's no longer with us, but at the same time, we wanted to take this opportunity to look back and thank the people that
really positive.
had really reached out to us. And I think the other really obvious one is the Hobby Hangout, because
yes, they've been with us for the whole lot, for the whole stretch.
They supported us when we were just, not that we're a big fish in a pool now, but at the same time we were, a minuscule, in terms of our numbers and stuff like that when we first jumped, when they first approached us. So I think that for us was a really big one in terms of, also.
Yeah,
I think the way I felt about it too, Ad, was that it just maybe gave us a bit of positive confirmation of we're heading in the right direction. That was how I felt about that at the time too, and that gave us a lot of exposure. So that was, they've just been just very supportive of us, just for and really for no reason. I think that's the other thing too with the guys at Hobby Hangout. So yeah, massive, shout out and thanks to them.
Well,
obviously,
I think we should probably thank the sponsors that have been on board, amazing. But I think the real ones are the ones that stop us from thinking, or the initial thought I had, that we were just talking to each other and no one was listening. And it's the listeners.
Yeah.
They're the big one.
I think the obvious one for me is Anthony Mill. That was the one that we were talking about offline.
Yep.
Just every day in the chat. So Anthony, we hope you're well. Thank you for your support. We're so flattered that you enjoy our content so much.
I think we've got Ados as well. Would be one that's always active in the chat, very, very, very much so, commenting on things, putting things up and putting opinions forward.
Scotty James.
Yes, Scotty James. Yes, we've very loyal listeners. We've got a lot of people that have tuned in over the years.
James Gregory's currently on holiday in Portland and was talking us up to a local card shop owner. So James, same to you, mate. Thank you so much for your support over the time.
Yeah, it's been the last I heard, I think he'd actually tied up the store owner and forced him to listen to our entire library of episodes. He might still be in the process of listening.
Couldn't leave the house until it was all listened to.
Just the whole catalogue. 200 episodes is a lot to listen to.
That's a lot. Ryan from GemRaid. I've even went over to America and he was kind enough to hang out with me. Like, that's the type of, relationships we've built with people over time. And, again, he's been fantastic to us, building content for us and giving us statistics and explaining things to us, teaching us.
Yep.
The back end of the hobby. That's been, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. We've had a lot of people on the show, like guests, and they're not local by any stretch. Can't forget our friends across the ditch over in New Zealand, the Card Codex boys.
Yep.
Had them on a few times. Probably overdue for another catch-up.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out, guys. We need to get this sorted out and get you guys back on. Yep.
A lot of local.
Sports Cards Nonsense, Matthew Yuga. Of course, we can't forget EJ's. They were also a very early adopter and sponsor for us. So
yeah.
Anyone that we haven't mentioned, we do apologize, but at the same time too, thank you everyone who has listened to our show and engaged with us, sent us messages, commented on our posts, yada yada, and all of the sponsors who have kept our lights on. It's been great. It's been a wonderful 200 episodes. So
special shout out, I guess, to Al and to Joe Fu as well, who have been have had the pleasure of giving us their time in person, as well as discussing many things hobby and not hobby related. So
Yeah, so shout out to Al for the artwork too. If you do want some street looking logos for your podcast or walls, just reach out to Al or to us and we can hook you up with Al. That's no troubles at all.
Yeah. All right.
That's enough, isn't it?
That's the pleasantries. That's the celebration. I'm sure it'll sink in a couple of days. Wow, we've got 200 episodes.
200 is, I think we should take 5 minutes out just to enjoy the moment. So I think whilst we are taking 5 minutes out to enjoy the moment, we are going to be very self-indulgent this episode. All we're going to be doing, except for 2 news stories, is just talking about cards, basically. Card values and just us just frothing over cards. Even though, yes, it is a very self-indulgent thing, the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to go through Card Ladder's total market cap from number 1 until the end of the show. So basically, we're going to be talking about some absolutely massive players and massive cards. And I think from sort of a zoomed out perspective, this is going to be really good because it's going to give us an idea of where the all-timers are, where maybe some of the, the 80s and 90s players lie, and then also that ultra modern, how that sort of goes into there. And I think this would probably be the perfect episode to get someone like Ryan to come in and sort of give us like a bit more sort of even higher sort of overarching. So after this episode's done, I'm going to reach out to Ryan and get some feedback from him because I'm sure there was things we missed or things that, we should have included in. So that will be, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we had the episode where we looked through gem rate. Ryan has showed us how to use his website.
Yep.
We're going to be using Card Ladder this week, and we're going to try and dig deeper into the way Card Ladder spits out data, really.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, we're on the hunt for cards. So what better way to do that? Do we want to hit the news first and then
let's do the news really quickly because I think this one's a little bit of an interesting one for me. I'm always fascinated by coaches firing. So Taylor Jenkins has been fired from the Memphis Grizzlies. Super weird timing, I think, because the playoffs are just 8 or 10 games away.
Not long at all. It's bizarre.
And my gut feeling with most coaches being fired is it's a pretty simple recipe. It's either that they were grossly underperforming or there was a coach killer. And I don't think Taylor Jenkins was underperforming. Actually, I think that team was being pretty injury riddled over the years. I think it's a good assortment of talent, but I don't really think that he has underperformed in his capacity.
It shocks me because Memphis have had a sneaky good year.
Yeah.
Baffled.
So, and then basically within less than 24 hours, a story came out that Ja Morant didn't like the offense. He was having some sort of motivation issues, coming to work each day and sort of going through the drudgery of this guy's offense. And so I think if you dig a little bit deeper into that, is that so he's the type of coach that would allow other coaches in his coaching staff to do the offense. So actually Taylor wasn't the offensive. Of course he has the final say, but he wasn't the offensive coordinator per se. So that's the part that I'm sort of a little bit interested in. And actually the coach that they did appoint allegedly was in charge of the offense. So that's also part of it, that I don't really understand. So maybe Jarvis is saying, look, I didn't like the offense, but really what the underlying meaning is, look, he just really didn't like Taylor. I actually thought he seemed like a pretty straight shooter and he seemed to defend his players. And, I'm not in the locker room day in and day out. So it's obviously it's incredibly hard for me to, put all the pieces together. But yeah, I'm really, shocked by this actually. I would love to see them hire someone like Doc Rivers and then, Ja has to go public and say, oh, look, I wish Taylor would come back, honestly.
That would be
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I don't know.
Where are you at with this?
I hope it turns Memphis into a dumpster fire because we're playing them currently in the standings, the Lakers. So I'm shocked. I don't see it being a reason to sack a coach. There's been success. Obviously, Jarrett adapted. I get it. If he really wants to be a coach killer, he can be one. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't think it's the right time. 10 games out from the playoffs.
Yeah, it's weird timing, isn't it?
It's
like difficult, awkward timing. Yeah.
that makes little to no sense, and you can't just, oh, we changed coaches, that's why we didn't go deep in the playoffs. Whatever. I'm sure something will come out in the near future.
100%. What was the other news thing we want to talk about this week? That's right. It's not so much about basketball per se. It's more about the hobby in general. So the Hobby Hangout XL have just announced, it came into my email literally in the last 12 hours. We're thrilled to announce that Golden, as in Ken Golden from the USA, will be joining us at the Hobby Hangout XL in Melbourne. Their first time in Australia. Founded in 2012 by the star of the hit Netflix docuseries King of Collectibles, The Golden Touch. Golden is internationally renowned leader in trading cards, collectibles, and memorabilia. It's funny they dropped the Netflix show in there in that first sentence when I feel like really they could have just said, you know, Golden. He's one of the biggest guys in collectibles. Like
Golden
that's
Auctions.
It.
It's like literally it's Golden Auctions.
In addition to that, he also has his own TV show. So yeah, look, I think this is crazy news. I think in terms of collectible royalty, if that's the right word to use, which I probably think is appropriate here, like who could you get that's bigger?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like maybe a bigger name in terms of clicks would be like someone like Gary V.
I was gonna say Gary V would be a big one, but I think Gary V's been non-existent in the hobby space though. Recently.
Yeah, but my thing about Gary V is like he's more an influencer and market swinger than a true person who's like
a hobby
balls deep in it. Whereas this guy's like, you know, he's built his own platform and he's buying his own cards and building up his own collection. You know what I mean? Like I actually feel like
I would rather this guy than your best mate Jeff Wilson.
Oh God!
Could you imagine?
I would be praying that he doesn't bring security. I think I would just be like throwing eggs at that dude. That would be like delicious, honestly.
Do you know what's interesting though?
I would never do that, people. I'm not a violent person. It's jokes. Yeah.
That's okay. The eggs won't hurt. They'll smell, but whatever. It's interesting though that you've got these competing shows, big shows in Melbourne, in Australia, and they're all trying to just hit with something different.
Look, obviously we're biased in this place. They're giving us some sponsorship, but irregardless of that,
I'm glad for all of it. I think
this is actually hobby news. Though. I think when Ken Golden Golden Collectibles is coming to Australia, like that is actually a big deal.
That's news. That's actually that's news for sure. I think that's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Particularly a hobby nerd like me.
Is it Ken? Is Ken coming or is
well? It doesn't specifically say, does it?
Because it's going to be some random representative from Golden Auctions that we haven't even seen on the Netflix show.
His daughter, you know. Yeah.
No, please no. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not even his number 2 or his number 3. It's some random apprentice is like, yeah, sure, we'll go down and look at Australia.
Yeah. Actually, I got to mention this too. This was kind of funny. So this is towards the bottom of the email. Stay tuned for exclusive Hobby Hangout activations. You were asking about that the other week. Like, what does that mean?
They're exclusive. That's all I know so far.
What activations do we get for Goldens? Maybe we get like a discount coupon on his auctions or something.
Never know.
Anyway, guys, look, get your tickets. Sunday, the 1st of June, 2025, Royal Exhibition Building, Carlton, 9 Nicholson Street, Carlton, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thehobbyhangout.com.au is where you go to get your tickets.
Yeah.
You can also get them on OzTix, but it's the same thing that'll take you there. The tickets are currently Hobby Hangout subscriber loyalty 12+. Oh, I think that's because I've got a link out of the email. So if you've signed up for the list, the tickets are just $25.
That's cool.
Which is actually, that's a nice little activation, isn't it? Yeah. If you go onto the website, they're $29. Yeah, so you get $5 off. That's a nice little perk, isn't it? So that's definitely worth mentioning too.
Can you activate an activation? It's I don't know. I need to understand this term better.
We do. We've already been waffling on for 15 minutes, Ad. So why don't we do one quick card and then we'll go to our first break?
I was going to say, we've just done a promo for one of our sponsors. Let's go and take a break and go to another one of our sponsors. But how about we? Yeah, right. We'll probably do one card. Let's do a bit of a preview
Introduction.
for after the ad. That will. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna open up. We've got to card ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've gone to players.
I've added a level here, so I've gone players, and we've sorted it by total market cap. So if you're in card ladder, I don't know if you can do it on normal. If you've got pro, you can go down. We've gone players, and I've excluded every other sport, and I've filtered it in the search bar. Next to the right of the search bar, there's a filter, and I've filtered it by basketball. By total market cap, which has Michael Jordan at the top, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Magic Johnson, Kareem, SGA, the list goes on.
Great.
I'm going to click Michael Jordan because he's
number one.
He's at the top of the list. The one thing I did differently whilst we were chatting, so when you bring up the player, it's got your index data and your sales volumes. This is how many cards have been sold and like the daily turnover of Jordan cards. And so this is huge. You then have a list of cards, and we've sorted that by value. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the filter, and the last filter is condition. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click PSA 10 gem mint and apply. So we are just going to look at the most valuable PSA 10 Michael Jordans.
Okay.
What do you reckon, Russell? Do you
sure, I think that changes the list actually quite dramatically, and I think that'll make it a bit more interesting. So that's fine.
It makes it unique cards, because I was seeing PMGs repeat. So we can change that filter, and I can go PSA 10s and BGS. I can add.
No, that's fine. No, I'm happy to roll with that, mate. I think the only thing for me is it just means I have to put that filter on every time. That's the only thing, but I'll be able to roll with this.
Yeah,
live change, and I think it's a good idea, mate. So let's do that. So we'll start with the Jordan 1998 Skybox Molten Metal, correct?
Let's do it. That's the card we are looking at. So, yeah, 1998 Skybox Molten Metal, number to 40, the Fusion Titanium, PSA 10. It's a hell of a card.
Yes, I feel like these first, say, 10 or so cards, I'm more going to be looking at them in terms of pure artwork and aesthetics, because this is the type of card where the idea in my brain doesn't even come in that I could possibly own one. Do you know what I mean? With a card value of $360,000 US.
There's only two of these in the pop count.
I just find these cards, I'm not too sure if I'm explaining myself properly, but I really associate with these cards on a different level to what I would do for a silver raw current, ultra modern rookie card. Do you know what I mean? Which I can pick up for $10. Like these cards, I almost find them like a unicorn.
They're unicorn cards for sure. Sure.
Look, I don't mind this card. So if we're just talking about pure aesthetics, look, I think this is fine. Where I sort of sit with this is like, would I really drop 360K on it? I think this is the real thing that I sort of keep on going back to. And maybe this is the right word or not, but I'm going to use it as just, value for money. So for example, when you scroll down just a couple of cards out of this list, I'm looking at the 1998 SP Authentic. Like even that, like I find this more appealing because it's PSA 10, it's die cut, and it's got an on-card autograph on it. I just feel like, that card in itself is just more interesting to me, and it's 1/3 of the price, or even cheaper than that. So
let's go to this.
Yeah, look, awesome start to the show though with that Molten Metal Skybox. Please, guys, if you are listening at home, I think this episode will be far more interesting if you're checking out the cards as we're going through. So
yeah, have a look at the YouTube. We're trying to show the cards where we can. We're navigating through. Even if you're at home listening and you're not on YouTube, when you're listening, jump on to Card Ladder. Look on these things if you do have access to them.
I think we should probably mention this before we go into our first break, though. But the total market cap for Jordan is 862 million. The second highest is LeBron at 288. I just feel like if we didn't mention that before we moved on, we'd be neglecting just
Looking at what
how
how big the difference is.
just how big the goat is. I think that's the best way to say it. We talk about
Mount Rushmore.
goats of this and goats of that, but I think if we're talking about just straight hobby, Jordan is so far apart from everybody else. It's just not funny. Yep.
To give some context, your top three being MJ, LeBron, and Kobe Bryant are the only ones with market caps in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And then it dwindles very quickly.
Very quickly. Very quickly.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm no shade at all. Steph Curry is at 81 million.
It's not shade.
Luka is surprising.
It's not shade. It's fact. It's not throwing shade if you're talking facts, and that's literally.
So there's the top 5 players, and then if all of it's under 50 million. Magic and Kareem doing very well there. SGA, I'm surprised.
Yeah, let's hold that conversation until we get there. Hey, what do you reckon?
Let's take a break.
We'll be right back. Adam, how are you, buddy?
I am good. What
So
are we looking
I think
at next?
the goal I had in my head was we're going to do 100 comps this show. So far, I think we've spoken about 2 cards in 20 minutes. I think we're going to fall short of this 100 card plan that I had.
You know what we should do? We should do
What's
one of those. You know they do those 24-hour streams. We just comp cards for 24 hours.
I think we would actually find a way to still not somehow get to the 100 cards.
And we'd have like a comp counter. How many cards can we comp in 24 hours? That's like it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's one to write down and not do for a while. I feel like, yeah.
2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James card number 111 gold refractor to 50. Are we on the same page?
Well, I haven't opened LeBron yet. I'm still in Jordan.
Come on, mate.
Still in Jordan.
All right. I will start talking about this card while you're opening it up.
You're right. I have to do the PSA 10.
You have to apply the filter every time now. And this is the grave that you dug, mate. And
far out. What have I done? What have I done?
All right. So this card to me is very important. I love this card so much. I'm really glad that this card somehow, went to the top, because actually I thought it was going to be maybe one of his exquisite RPAs or something along those lines. I think what's, incredibly special about this card is just the numbering on it. So this is numbered to 50.
Yep.
It's gold. This doesn't fit my OCD. So in my mind, gold should be numbered to 10. So Fanatics, can you please keep that in mind?
Tops are going to mess with you on this.
Yeah.
As
we're moving into the next couple of years, I'd really appreciate that you could comply with that.
Yeah.
Michael Rubin. And then population on this is 9, and it last sold for $645,000. So again, it's just insane sort of cash that's going around. The funny thing about this one, though, I can actually justify this. So that last purchase that was just sort of like, it's not a random insert, but let's call it a random insert. That for me is a real struggle in my head. And then I'm just looking at with the aesthetics. With this one here, on the other hand, I'm like, actually, I really see the value in this and how
I'm
the numbering,
I like
the low
this.
pop.
Yeah. Look, and I know it was through the quote unquote COVID crazy period. However, sold for 1.2 million in a private sale in August 2022.
Yeah, right.
Sold for 900K in February 2023.
Okay.
And then recently sold for 640, like October 2024.
Okay.
So that 650K might actually be a very, very good investment, knowing that it previously has sold for 1.2 mil. That's potentially the future, the 10-year price on that card.
Yeah.
And not pop count of 9.
So the one that I'm looking at, which I think is, for me, maybe a bit more interesting because the price is still insane, but it's a bit more reasonable. It's the X Fractor to 220. That last sold for 81K, and the population on that is just 7. So
Okay.
I think when I sort of put those two things together, like the pricing, the population, it's still numbered.
Yeah.
It's still LeBron. And then when we go back to that total market cap we're talking about, with LeBron being 4 times less than Jordan, the way I interpret that is that maybe Jordan is a little bit overinflated. I'm not trying to say this to bait people, but actually also too, maybe LeBron's got a little bit more room to grow.
For sure. Given
Yeah.
given given the
So,
way that the
like, as
way that
crazy as
market
that
cap
sounds,
works,
yeah,
is if there is a value shift, the market cap will expand or retract.
yeah. So I
Okay.
actually think that, there's a reasonable chance
Mm, mm,
that card could still keep going up. Let me rephrase that. A very, very good chance that this card could still keep going up.
yeah.
So I think we should move on to Kobe Bean Bryant.
Off to
And looking at the
Kobe.
list here, it is going to be the 1996 EX 2000. I'm just going to introduce this card and then you're going to take over.
Nice.
Credentials numbered to 499.
I feel sick thinking about this.
PSA 10. Population is just 4 on this, and it last sold for $617,000. Why? Why do you feel sick about this?
Because I owned a BGS 7 of this.
Oh God!
I
Should
had
we comp it live on air, or is that just going to cause you pain and
more
suffering?
and more pain and suffering. No. Let's do it.
Actually, well, the BGS 8 sold for 9,000 USD.
Yeah, like it's the this card. I obviously not the PSA 10 version, but I've held this card in my hand, not this particular one. I think it's BGS 7 or 7.5 or something like that. Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful card. It's obviously the white or silvery version, the credentials of that green EX. Have you seen the normal EX green rookie? But yeah, very very beautiful. The white, I suppose the white background, very very elegant. Um, and while Russell turns the camera into two atoms, there we go.
Hi, mate.
That was
That's okay. So the last thing I heard you say was you held it in your hand.
yep, cool. Held it in my hand as I was explaining to the void and to our live listeners. Yeah, it's a very elegant card. The number to 499 is the white or the sparkly, the silver ish version of the base, which is the green in the EX
Yep.
series, which really 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 nice looking piece. I do like the credentials.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't. Once again, it's
So,
another
all right.
another rookie card for me.
This is where I'm sitting here. I'm looking at. Yeah. But looking at this card here, why do you think that one sold for double the price of the 2003 Exquisite? Because, excuse me, because, like, looking at those two cards, my preference would be straight to the Exquisite with the patch, the autograph, like that card in PSA 10. Like that to me, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone who's a non-Kobe lover, and also maybe who's not that in tune with Skybox EXs, like, why is that worth so much at?
So that the 96 Skybox, that's a rookie card. That's one of the sought after rookie cards. That's not not the superfractor that like.
So
the
it's a rookie
pristine-
card.
Yeah, pop.
It's
count.
highly collected. Yeah.
All right, so 499 is the numbering. There are 4 of these.
Pop count. Yeah. PSA 10.
Yeah. Yeah. PSA 10, which is it's not
Yeah.
like if you look at we look deeper into the
So
pop,
tough to gem.
it's very tough to gem. So there's a There are no BGS 10s.
Mm.
No BGS 10s, which means there are no black labels. There are 9 BGS 9.5s. So yeah, it's a very difficult card to get that gem mint.
Yeah, so that probably does play it into a little bit.
And the fact that it's rookie year, I think is the pushing factor there. The exquisite is interesting because there's only one of the PSA 10s.
Yeah.
So, but it's not rookie year, and yeah, this one last sold.
Yeah, interesting.
When was
So
that?
I feel like for me, this is like the value is it's obviously. I think obviously the value really driven on this card in terms of the scarcity of the quality of the card.
Mm.
And I think if we sort of take this back a little bit to what we say about, buying the card and, not the grade, I do like these type of purchases. I'm using quotations here. I actually worry about them. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how long is that card going to hold its value at 600K for?
What do you mean? You mean like
I just struggle
Kobe?
a little bit when I see these kind of, like lower end cards that are nice cards, but they're like $600,000. Do you know what I'm trying to say here? I just find that the string attaching those two pieces of data just so flimsy. I'm just like, I don't know.
Do you want to run the pop count?
We talk about buying cards at
the
the very top. I just feel like that to me is just.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the pop count at 500 on a rookie card, that's a very low pop count. Given look at the Michael Jordan rookies, like the available Michael Jordan rookies.
Yeah,
and we're talking like for like to an extent, with the fact that Kobe is in that top 3. I know Jordan's well and above, but Kobe's number 3 on this list, and he's got his market cap is in triple figures as well.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go on to Steph Curry.
Sorry, go. Steph Curry is the next one, or is there another Kobe card we wanted to compare it to? We've already looked at the exquisite, so it's probably best to go on to Steph.
Yep, let's do that.
Let's go to Steph. All right, so applying the lovely PSA 10 filter. Actually just comes up with his Bowman. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, it's the 2009 Bowman 48 rookie is the one that comes up as number 1, which is the number to 48. But the top 2 are obviously his rookie cards. Interesting that the National Treasures is the 3rd place.
I'm just going to go on the record. I don't want to talk about this Bowman 48.
Why is that?
Yeah. So for me, I don't want to talk about the Bowman 48 at all. So for me, I'm more interested in. Well, I don't think it's a pro card.
Interesting. So it's the same. It's the same year. So you're gonna say you don't want to talk about you don't want to talk about Wemby's unlicensed stuff? Like it's 2009. Is this the licensed unlicensed debate?
But it's in his. But it's like I'm happy to talk about the 2009 Topps Chrome, but I just find that Bowman one. Yeah, I just want to say it's. Yeah, I just don't think. I think comparing that to his NBA. With me well at all.
Interesting. I suppose with Steph, I'm curious to know
Anyway,
how the NT rookie patch auto is the one that just miles below. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
these numbered to 50 rookie cards or numbered to 48.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. I wonder if that's related to the time that it last sold, though, too.
Yeah, possible.
Mm.
Very possible.
All right, why don't you go through the Bowman 48 and I'll go through the Topps Chrome. How does that sound?
Sure. Well, the Bowman 48, Bowman 48 last sold for $210,000. And that last sold on Kobe Day, funnily enough, August 24th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
A big difference from the previous sale, which was 120K. So now we're over 200K.
Yeah.
And the previous sale before that was 2016. So it had been a while since it had seen the light of day. It's gone from 5,000 to 120 in 2022. Pop count on the PSA 10, though, is 1. So, it's...
So, okay, so let's talk about the order of these sales then, okay? So the Bowman's Chrome...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Bowman 48.
The Bowman 48 sold in 2024, so a very recent sale, and that sold for $210,000. Okay, this is starting to make a bit more sense in my head. The National Treasures RPA, which is third on the list, last sold in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So this last sold for $1,700. So my gut feeling on this card is that this is going to be closer to $1 million card than a $10,000 card.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's interesting that Card Ladder's got it on the list, though, in third spot, right? Because there are cards that have sold for more.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think their data is always like perfect
Accurate.
all the time. And there's a few things that can definitely sway. And particularly when we're talking about, we're narrowing the filters down a lot here at this point.
The last sold versus Card Ladder value, they reckon it's that gold Topps Chrome is a 150K card.
Mm.
And
That's
the National
right.
Treasures is also at the 140 mark. So
there's no way that goes for 140, man.
You know which
I
one
suppose
I want
in
to
saying
talk
that,
to? Yeah.
we were talking about his RPAs that not that long ago, though, were we? And we were really surprised how low it went.
Low
for.
low
But I think this one is better than that last one we spoke about. Like that sticker on that previous card, that was just
the sticker.
It's too unclear. Alrighty, so the 2009 Topps Chrome, that's last sold in 2019. So again, that explains the reason for the sale price being what it was.
Correct.
What a pickup though in 2019 for 25K. Like that's what 10x.
Yeah, that's insane.
We got Wemby stuff going for
$500,000.
Yeah, which is not nearly as good as what Steph Curry is.
Yeah, the notable out of the Steph Curry list, rookies aside, because I've just gone through the value list.
Yeah.
There's one in gold down there that last sold for 62K that I'd like to quickly touch on.
You're talking about the Kaboom?
The Kaboom. Gold Kaboom.
Yeah.
Sold via private sale June last year for 62K. PSA 10, 2018 Gold Kaboom.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice card. It's interesting that it looks like he's dunking.
Yeah.
Because he's not really renowned for that.
I remember when that came out, I was like, that doesn't actually make sense why they would do that to that card. It should have, but at the same time, I actually think the design on that card is really clean. I understand why that card is so popular.
Yeah, for sure.
In saying that, I think we should really quickly comp that back to the Jordan PMG because the top Jordan card that we were originally going to talk about before we put the PSA 10 filter on was the PMG to 10.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, actually.
So the Metal Universe, 1997 Metal Universe, which is numbered to 10, very conveniently, that last sold for $900,000. You cannot tell me the dude that bought that didn't have in the back of his head that this card one day will be up at that $900,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah. I think that's that classic when you're playing chess against people who are playing checkers, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, you don't know who bought that in private sale, do you, by any chance?
no, no, no. Be nice to know.
Very lovely.
We
Alrighty.
can ask Goldens when they come over to visit.
That's all right. All right, we've just had your boy Kobe, so let's move on to your next boy. We're going to talk about Luka Doncic. And
My new boy.
I think considering how close you are to Luka now, I think you should kick this one off and do the honors.
I'm putting the PSA 10 filter on. Can I put the pop count filter on?
No.
Damn it.
No, it's too complex, mate. Once you start adding filters on top of filters on top of filters, it's too hard for the listeners at home to keep up.
I'm like Luka Doncic. All right, fine. So, do you know what the top 4 cards under Luka are? That damn rookie card. The gold to 10, the Nebula 1 of 1, the red shimmer, and the fast break green. So a number to 10, 1 of 1, number to 7, number to 5. They all sold for a lot.
Actually, once you go past that, though, the list is actually really interesting because then you've got an optic autograph, you've got another Prism, you've got a Revolution Galactic, you've got a Kaboom, a Mojo, a Next Day autograph, a Courtside Zebra, and then an orange to 49. That's a fun list.
The next day auto is a good one.
Yeah, at that point. So why don't we do number 1, then we'll do the next day auto. How about that?
Beautiful. Okay, so number 1 is it is a 2018 Prism rookie card numbered to 10 in PSA 10. That last sold for $341,600. And that was on the 22nd of February. Down as it sold for $780K in January 2021.
Oh my God.
Pop count is 4, which means 40% of these are PSA 10.
Oh, or they've just resubbed them.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's 15 have been in the population report. Yeah,
but if you've got a 10, why would you resub it?
Oh,
okay.
I
Just disregard what I said then, actually.
The BGS 9.5s, upgrade them to 10s.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that wouldn't influence that pop count. No, honestly, please. I might even go back and delete that out.
Ha! Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's some interesting sales, that's for sure.
Alrighty, so I think for my points on this is just, the iconic card of my generation in terms of the photography on this card. The numbering to 10, which is in gold, ticks a lot of OCD boxes for me. That is like absolutely delicious. But I got to tell you, we've been talking about cards, and again, I think this is really good context, isn't it? Like, would you rather have that Steph Curry Kaboom to 10, or would you rather have this? For the price disparity, I would probably just go with the Steph Curry, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we looked at the LeBron before the X Fractor, which was cheaper than that. That was $80K, wasn't it? So you can have that, or you can have this. I think, look, I love Luka, and I'm so glad that, he's going to be the next generation's Jordan, or the next generation, Steph, however you want to say it. I think he's a great basketball player, and I'm sure now that he's playing for the Lakers, you think that too. I just think some of this stuff is definitely, particularly as higher and stuff like that, to me, that's pumped up to the moon. Even at 300K.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's a degree of risk on that one. So
yeah, no, I think the rookie card factor is big, but it's finding. I mean, this literally goes with what advice you normally give. Don't go the silver, go for the numbered stuff. So the number to 10, obviously a big price point there. The Nebula, 1 of 1.
Yeah, but 300K ad, that's like some of that's higher than Jordan Exquisite and Kobe Exquisite. It's like that. I think that's my struggle point. I think this is why I'm enjoying this exercise so much, because it really does give you
some context.
Yeah, that ultra modern, versus sort of other guys. 2018 Next Day autograph. Population on this is just 4. This is actually like a really fun one for me, out of a relatively low end product, but a super collectible card. I don't particularly like the photography on this card that much, but at the same time,
he looks skinny in that.
He's a young kid, fresh. He's got that fresh face look on him.
Yeah.
This last sold for $20,000. This has sold a lot, this card. If you go back and look at the all-time
Yeah.
data on it, there is a lot of different
I
data.
like this card ladder value on this though. Card ladder values this card quite highly, don't they? Oh no, they're valued at 20k. I think this is a really good smart card.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the next day autos and the value in the next day auto. This is literally the first rookie card as a professional Luka Doncic signed.
Yeah.
So
That absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah, the next day auto has some value to it. God, there's a lot of that Prism rookie card in the variations. I just keep scrolling down the list, and it's just every different variant of that Prism 2018.
Just keeps going. Do you want to talk about one more before we move on?
What else is on the Luka list here? Not particularly. I'm just noting that there's just so much of it. Yeah, that's why I like the next day auto. It's so unique compared to the others.
Yeah.
And none of the RPA kind of stuff. So, but they're more graded as authentic than looking for a PSA 10 on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've completely blown out the structure of this show. We're already up to 46 minutes, so
next break.
I don't know where the time has gone, so let's just go to our next break, and we will be right back. But before we do go, we are going to hear a word from our sponsors. So thank you to the lads at fastbreaktradingcards.com. Congratulations on your first birthday recently. Congratulations on your partnership with Collect Fest as being one of the main sponsors for the show. It's just insane news. So that's fantastic, guys. Go to their website, fastbreaktradingcards.com. You will find Topps, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, Formula One, tennis, UFC, WWE, Fanatics, authentic memorabilia, entertainment, TCG, Disney, Lorcana, Pokemon, One Piece, Star Wars. All of your supplies needs also can be found. Go down and say hello to the lads at 75 Tulip Street in Cheltenham. Friday 12 till 6, Saturday 9 till 5. Sunday 10 till 4, the lads like to sleep in on Sundays. You will get very good customer service face-to-face, great advice. They will also buy your cards from you too. They offer a grading service. You can drop off your cards. They'll take care of everything on the back end. Unofficially, they're also working towards a model of taking your cards and sending them off to the high-end auction houses in the US. So talk to John and Alvaro about that. They will sort that out for you. Adam, we are back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm ready to keep processing down the list.
Yeah, I think we actually lost track of time then, and we're just genuinely enjoying ourselves. So I think this is, the sign of a good show. I have been keeping account of how many cards we've comped today. We're up to 14.
Oh, that's better than none.
Just a few short of our 100 goal that we set for ourselves. So the next person to talk about is Magic Johnson. This is going to be a fun one.
Can I do a calculation just quickly? If
Yes.
in 45 minutes we did 14 comps.
Yeah, yeah.
It's 5 comps every 15 minutes, roughly.
It's not bad. It's not terrible, is it?
That's in a 24-hour stream, we would be able to comp 200 cards.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean we wouldn't get much sleep, but
I don't think it would take us that long.
Yeah, 24 hours would be great.
I feel like this is a challenge for us in the future.
It's going to be a future challenge. We might need partner permission and a lot of caffeine.
I feel like it sounds like you're laying down the challenge, frankly.
Could be interesting. I'm keen.
All right, Magic Johnson. So applying your filtering rules, I've already done it. We're going to talk about the 1980 Topps Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Julius Erving.
The triple.
All right. So just before even, my first thing about this, I'm very mid on this card.
Good. I have a thought. I don't like that as a rookie card at all.
Yeah. I mean, I get it that it is what it is, and you just have to sometimes, accept it. But at the same time,
the card below it's the rookie card, surely.
I just don't actually understand why this card is so collected.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
I think it just comes down to straight to the year.
I get that, but the first card exclusively with him on it is not this one. It's the 1981. Either of them, the 109 or the I think the number 21. That's the rookie card. In my view, the 1981 tops. That's my rookie card, but
Yeah.
it's not the one we're talking about. Look, I don't know, scoring leaders. Magic Johnson. It's an insert, isn't it? Or a subset. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a player's card.
So I feel like the place where we start with this is actually the all-time data on this. So filter it down to all-time data. So if you go back to 2007, this sold for $6,000. As you move into 2020, of course, we all know what happened during that time. We're selling for around 100K.
Mm-hmm.
And then it spiked all the way up to 700. And then there was a couple higher at 800.
840, Jesus.
Yep. Actually, the thing I'm more interested in about this card is it's definitely come down post-COVID, but it hasn't come down as much as you would expect it to. Because, there's some cards where it's a straight line up and it's a straight line down. So you're basically back to where you were before you started. Whereas this card, yes, it's definitely down. If you filter it down to that last couple of years, okay, that's, it's down 50%. But at the same time, if you look at the all-time data, and I think this is what's more interesting to me. So this card is trading at 432. We talk about missing the train on cards, and I'm still kicking myself over this Jokic thing. But for me, this is the classic one of, if you don't have this card already, I don't really see the genuine purpose of getting on and getting it, unless you just value it so highly you have to get it. So the other two guys on the card we probably should mention is Larry Bird and Dr. J.
Well, this is my one counterpoint to it. I mean, aside from the card is a subset, not an actual player card, but it's kind of, if you're going to call it a rookie card, it's a dual rookie card, because it's Larry Bird's and Magic Johnson's rookie appearance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, I suppose, what puts extra value on it.
Yeah.
I still think it's the 1981 card, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel a bit perplexed by some of these cards, to be honest, and I think that's fine. If this is what you collect, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, let's really quickly touch on this. The 1986 Fleer Magic Johnson #7. This is another one where I feel like this is
that's the sticker.
So I call these ones the lightning in the bottle. So I think
trying
it's
to make
good to
people
have...
angry here. This is a sticker, not a card.
Sure. Either way, though, so the way I look at this is that you pick up PSA 10s and you put them away and you hope that you catch lightning in the bottle. And I honestly feel like with these ones, is an absolute sell. So if you're talking about, the buy, hold, sell equation, for me, this is just sell this as quickly as you can at 6,800.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Roll it into something bigger and better that you genuinely want, and you just take the value that's just come back to you. Because the really interesting thing about this, actually, this is quite relatively frequently traded. So if you filter this down to the last year, this has been sold 1, 2, 3, 5 times in the last 12 months. So for a relatively unknown, high value card, it's an interesting one.
Interesting turnover, yeah.
Alrighty. So, and Kareem. Alrighty. Kareem is our next gentleman. And I can't wait to talk about this one. I'm probably going to change the card we talk about, even though we do have a recipe that we need to follow. I really want to talk about... it's come up on top anyway. Alrighty. This is the card I want to talk about. The 1969 Topps Kareem.
The Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor, correct. All right, the reason why this card is so significant is because of the shape of the card. It's
a tall card.
Yeah, tall card. It's a very long and narrow card. In addition to that, you will see a lot of these cards that have been aftermarket signed by Kareem. And He seems to be
Oh.
the type of gentleman that is very willing to work with collectors and write special inscriptions on them and stuff like that. And so you can get lower PSA graded cards of this, which actually I would call very, very affordable. So let's just roll this down to PSA 5.
Okay.
So the last sold on this is 1,100. And then you can get an autographed one in that sort of, PSA 5, PSA 6 for around 2K.
Yeah.
And so I find those cards super interesting and very enticing because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yes, I can afford that. It's a very unique card to begin with. Plus he's not the number one scorer of all time, but at one point he was that number one scorer. And also he does these beautiful inscriptions onto them too. And so just for these cards, I find there's a lot to like on them. And again, the other thing I really like about this card too is that it does actually cater for all different price points as a collector. So, you're going from a PSA 4 up to 10, of course, there's a big difference in that. But at the same time, so the price difference is also big. You're up to $240,000. So it caters to that ultra high end collectors and down to sort of, guys with a more, day-to-day budget, if you want to talk to it like that. So, yeah, look, I actually looked at these, for quite a long time. I didn't pull the trigger on it because I probably moved on to something else. But at the same time, this has been or is a card that's on my, one day it's on my bucket list type thing.
That's a bucket list card for sure.
Yeah, those lower, PSA.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem out of reach, too much. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a very generous hobbyist too. The way, like the amount of cards that gentleman has signed and done autographs for people. I think we do need to give him a little bit of kudos in that space here. Alrighty, so this next one with a market cap of 27 million. So just for context, Luke is at 73 million, Magic is at 49, Kareem is at 31, and next on the list is SGA at 27. So this is the first sort of red flag for me.
Bang.
This is the one that's, it's really, I find this one, quite challenging to look at.
Really?
And I think that, yeah, I do, because so for example, so once you click onto the player page and you look at stats, look at what has happened to him since January of 25. Like, it is just exponentially gone up.
Yeah.
Speaking of exponentially gone up, Adam, we didn't talk about this. Let's just thread this in now.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody who's been supporting us on YouTube. We basically, in the last 7 days, have doubled our subscribers. So thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to our channel, sharing, videos, commenting, yada, yada. It's finally, we've been picked up in the YouTube ether / algorithm. And we basically had 2 years of growth in a week. So, yeah, thank you to everyone to that. So basically our YouTube subscribers look like SGA's
not the spike
index data, and this is what I'm really worrying about. And actually you can already start to see a small downturn. So, so this is
we
my
better
concern.
not lose subscribers. Jesus.
You've got this huge market cap on the guy. Like, it's insane. Like, if you think about what he's done and the quality of players that we've just discussed, and now we've got SGA, that to me, it just doesn't make sense. So SGA is higher than Wilt, Giannis, Bill Russell, which for me, Bill Russell is criminally low. George Mikan, KD, Edwards, I can leave or take. Jason Tatum, he's higher than Tatum. Like, that's nuts. Nikola Jokic isn't as high as Jason Tatum. Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
That's enough to be said, isn't it?
But it gives you perspective. The one thing I want to add, because...
Do, please, because I'm taken aback at this point.
Okay, so one thing market cap doesn't really account for is spikes. So SGA has, and you look on the list, 163 different cards.
Yeah.
So all of those start to spike. The market cap naturally multiplies that most recent sale by the number of cards. Yes. We live in a time. There's a reason Luca is number 5, and yeah, I'm he plays on the Lakers now, but I'm still going to criticize the fact that there are so many Lukas out there.
Yeah, sure.
So if the hype of him going to the Lakers causes a spike in his cards, the volume is just going to throw the market cap up.
Yeah, but point being, there's 732 Lukas, but only 163 Shays, but he's still higher than Wilt, Giannis. This is what I'm saying to you, though. Like, 100% I respect what you're saying, but it's possible we just feel, very differently about SGA. Look,
I don't think SGA is warranted to be in the top 10.
I think 12 months ago, he was one of the best buys in the hobby, and I think we missed that. I think we dropped the ball on it, and I can say we, but really me, I was too conservative in that space.
Yeah.
And I was worried about his pricing, going up 6 months ago. I was like, I'm not too sure. Whereas now, this is just alarm bells for me.
But market cap and Anthony Mills put it in the chat. That's the now market, right? So it multiplies, because it's a very simplistic view. The trend is these cards have all skyrocketed. So the cap blows up.
Correct.
What happens is as the sales start to taper off, all the cards get their recent sales, it will mellow down. There's no way SGA is going to be a top 10 player at the market cap. It's just spike marketing. It's maths. It's got to be math.
Yeah, and actually I agree 100% with what you just said, but that makes me concerned if you're buying into SGA at the moment.
Yeah, but
you're buying into him
he could go higher
at this crazy inflated point in time, and in my head, he hasn't done what he needs to have done to justify that position.
My goodness, hang on a second. Can we take out all of the instances of SGA and replace them with Luka Doncic and your opinion with exactly what I have about Luka? You've just given the Luka Doncic argument to SGA, and I love it.
Yeah, I just feel that Luka is more of a hobby darling, but obviously
darling, yes.
Obviously, that's changed a lot. He's just popular. Some things are what they are in the hobby, though. You just have to accept it, right? Luka's popular. I still like Luka's resume better than SGA's.
Yeah. But I love the fact that you've very clearly pointed out that SGA hasn't done enough to deserve where he is in the.
He absolutely. Yeah, this is high quality speculation here.
Neither has Luka. I will add.
We've finally got an RPA at the top, so this speaks to me. So thank you very much, Card Ladder. 2018 SGA National Treasures Vertical RPA number to 10.
They don't often grade 10. Very well. That's the problem.
That is crazy. Yeah, that's right. So population on this is 2. This hasn't sold for a while. So if this had sold recently, this might be a $500,000 card.
Well, no. Look at number 3 on the list. It's the same card. It's just numbered to 99.
Yeah, this one's numbered to 10 though, right?
Yeah, this one's numbered to 10. But the number to 99 is there.
Sold for 114. Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely that would sell for 4x, right?
Yeah.
Look, this is a really cool card. I think whoever's got this, you need to sell this. Like, you need to go to Golden's. You need to bring your card down to the Hobby Hanger XL, drop it into Golden's. How's that for a product placement?
Yeah, there we go.
And get this card sold, because this is the peak SGA. What
happens if he doesn't win the MVP?
I think we come back in 6 months and he's come down 30, 35, 40%.
Is there a way he doesn't win
I don't
the
think
MVP?
He'll crash, because I still think he's got a lot of potential left in him. He's still on an exciting young
player.
team.
It's like, don't get me wrong. He's But I think there's going to be a lot of, oh crap, we may have jumped the gun if he doesn't win the MVP.
Yeah. Hey, Ad, we're already at the hour mark. Would you like to pick the last card we're going to talk about, and then we'll finish up? Or the last player. The last player to talk about.
All right, I'll go off the list. You know what? I'm gonna pick a Celtic. There's a lot of them. I was gonna pick Wilt and be boring. Do I pick an old player? Because I was gonna. No, I'm not. I'm picking Victor Wembanyama. Because come on, it's Wemby. It's low hanging fruit.
We've done a fair bit of older stuff today, so I think it's fine to do, a little bit
Yeah.
of ultra modern. I think we've been actually pretty good for our standards really today.
We've done. I think we've got a lot. I was going to go quirky, but no. Victor Wembanyama is going to look very, very, very much like the Luca one, where it's all the same rookie card, just all the different variants. There's no pricing on it, but I just want to say that the bottom card of the Wemby list in the PSA 10 is the Prismania. So I just wanted to give that card a bit of a shout out.
Sure.
Oh, look at that. Bowman University. Number 3. I think Victor Wembanyama's market cap is purely surrounded by this one Prism rookie card, really. That's what it's held up on, isn't it?
So we spoke about that the one of one that sold, which was the unlicensed, and then we spoke about the number to 5. What was it, the Logoman? And the price disparity on that. So I think that's all we need to remind our listeners about when we're talking about how the market has responded to the licensed and the unlicensed cards.
Yeah.
So I think my perspective on Wemby at the moment is that, so we're talking about the Tiger Stripe at the moment. So population on that is 6. It last sold for $18,000. I think probably what is more relevant right now is talking about the silvers.
Yeah, silvers.
Filtering down to the last 3 months. So then that's within his injury time. And this is, to me, actually the most fascinating part of all this. So the highest sale in the last 3 months is $900.
Yeah.
And the lowest sale is $679. So, okay, that actually is a reasonable amount of variation. However, when you look at the totality of the last 3 months, he's only down 1.8%. So let's just round that up to 2%, which in the hobby world, that's just variation, from day to day. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So I was expecting people to be dumping their cards, like absolutely dumping. So despite him having this season-ending injury, the hobby community is actually, held together really strongly and stayed with their boy. So look, I think in terms of, where is this going for the hobby and how much money have people put into it, keeping in mind how much money people put into Zion and Jar and how that turned up so sort of, belly up.
Yeah.
I'm actually finding this really reassuring. And so...
Well, it's interesting, though, because you think about it, because Ryan uses the term market cap to show how much people have physically invested into a card, right? That's into
a player.
Into a player, right?
Yeah.
So I'll use a card. I'll go to the Silver Prism.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do some rough numbers. So at present, we know that the Silver PSA 10 has a pop count of 4,392. So I'm going to get my calculator out now because
it's just easier that way.
4,400. I'm rounding it up.
Sure. That's easy.
Last sold price of $740. That is a $3.25 million market cap.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Shall we go back to this time last year, beginning of April 2024, when this card sold for $2,250. I'm going to multiply that by 4,400.
Sure.
Which gives us a $10 million market cap.
There probably wasn't that many of them at that time, though. Like there might have been, say, half as many. Because remember...
But this is the point I illustrate, because however many there are of SGA Silver, the market cap... So the market cap is whatever the number is multiplied by the last sold price.
Sure.
So when a card bottoms out, we're looking at a discrepancy now on Card Ladder with Victor Wembanyama, where we'll just use SGA saying he's at 27.5 mil, but you're saying Victor Wembanyama's at 10.3 mil. I've just shown you $6 or $7 million in that movement. So he goes up a bar to George Mikan. He goes above Kevin Durant in this scenario. Like, he goes... So this is what I mean by it being a now list.
Yeah.
So he actually, like, jumped so many, he might actually be under... If he hadn't got injured, or the hype hadn't died down, when the hype was happening, he was high, he was up with Bill Russell.
I think initially, like, if you look at that graph, initially his sales, were quite high.
Yeah. So
And then
what I'm saying, yeah, the adjustment in
it did
market
definitely
cap.
peter off. Yeah. And I get I understand the point you're trying to make. Yeah, I just probably think the only thing that's a little bit different though is like the market cap with SGA is different now because the total population of the cards is there and then it's multiplied up, so that sort of drags the whole lot up. But
Yeah.
I think backwards trying to calculate it without adjusting the population, that probably is like, I get what you're trying to do, but it's probably not quite right in that.
So
sort of
Victor
space.
Wembanyama comes out, blows it out next year, goes back up to 1,500. Then you multiply 1,500 by the 4,400.
Yeah, in that time,
Yeah,
you would.
but that's what I mean about SGA. He's spiking at the moment, so the market cap is seeing a spike across the board. So his silvers are going through the roof, right? It's not just the RPAs and things like that. Every sale of an SGA is going through the roof. So the market cap is increasing.
As the sales happen, it multiplies it by the pop. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I feel like SGA's flavor of the month and just exploding, whereas Wemby is now gone off the boil. Injury, market stabilized, and I think it's gone down.
I do agree, but I think what I was anticipating was a much bigger drop. But actually what we've seen the last few months is virtually nothing, like 2%. So
yeah,
I think that's actually a really interesting movement in the market, which people probably haven't been actually discussing because, this could have been a lot worse for the hobby and for all these people that were, holding, large volumes of Wemby. I think that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
So,
but I think with high volume, with high volume, it gets problematic. That's the main thing.
We have to tie this bad boy off. Ad, final thoughts.
If you've got time, go through Card Ladder and have a look at all the features. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it was an interesting little deep dive for the 200s. Very indulgent. But
it was fun, wasn't it? So thanks heaps, Ad. That was great.
We didn't quite get through 200 cards.
So according to my little click counter, we got to 20.
Nice.
So
we do a 24-hour stream.
I think it would take us 3 hours. Oh, wait.
We can get 5. You reckon 5? I reckon the target would be 500 cards in a 24-hour stream.
I'm not doing a 24-hour stream. It's not happening.
Chicken.
I'll take that. Yeah. Alrighty, legend. Thanks everyone for a lovely night. Thanks, you, Adam.
Guys.
Thank you, Central Coast Radio listeners.
Yeah. Thanks for 200 episodes.